I'm Ed Henkler, founder of The Blind Guide, focused on helping people thrive with vision loss. I'm also a member of Beacon's Diversity and Inclusion Committee. Today we'll be focusing on understanding disabilities to create a more inclusive society. Disabilities come in many forms. They may be physical, cognitive, sensory, or neurological. They may also be visible or non-apparent. People with disabilities are an often overlooked component of diversity. That's somewhat ironic, given that people with disabilities are part of every other segment of diversity. It's said that 1 in 5 people has some level of disability. That suggests that most of us know somebody with disabilities, perhaps closely. People with disabilities also experience far higher rates of unemployment. In fact, people who are blind experience 70% unemployment rates, and yet they can do anything on a laptop that someone who's typically able can do. Inclusive language is crucial to fostering respect and dignity for people with disabilities. It focuses on their abilities and contributions, not their limitations and differences. I've been using person-first language throughout this talk. It's a person with paraplegia, not a paraplegic. It's a person who's blind, not a blind person. How about hearing? Somebody who's deaf or hard of hearing, not a deaf person. That's an interesting one with deafness, with hearing. When you refer to the condition, it's a lowercase d. When you refer to the community, the deaf community, it's a capital D. And also, it's hearing, hard of hearing, not hearing impaired, but with vision, it's vision impaired. And then think about abilities. Wheelchairs are a good example. It's a person who uses a wheelchair, not somebody who's wheelchair bound. That's very obvious. That's powerful versus constrained. And some groups don't like person-first language. They'd rather be a blind person than a person who's blind. A lot of rules. How do you keep track of all that? How do you do the right thing? The answer is simple. You just ask. You know your preferences. Doesn't matter. What are their preferences? Embracing inclusive language makes people with disabilities feel respected, empowered. And you know what? If you embrace people with disabilities, perhaps they'll join your team. And as Randy Lewis proved at Walgreens, adding people with disabilities to your team creates a more cognitively diverse and productive team. So let's embrace people with disabilities. And remember, just ask.